Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode one of PureLogics Pulse, a podcast where we talk to leaders, founders, and CTOs to bring you actionable insights on how they think, build, and lead, along with a look at new technologies that help businesses thrive. I'm Mohsin Ali, a senior software engineer here at PureLogics with 8 years of experience with all things AI. Joining me is Jahangir Naeem, a strategic engineering leader here at PureLogics. With more than 2 decades of delivering solutions for international clients, Jahangir has been at the forefront of technological evolution. Jahangir, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Very much excited.
Likewise, before we jump into AI, let's start with you. Take us back to the beginning. How did you get into technology? What led you to Pure Logics?
Well, to sum it up in a few sentences, I've been in touch with the tech since my childhood. The first computer that I had in late 80s, it was an early version of Sinclair 128K that had no storage, and it came with a book that had two games as a coding practice in it. So I was a game enthusiast from childhood. So what we did was whenever we wanted to play a game, I had to code all the game details and then run it. So that enticed my what interest towards game development. And when started my graduation, that was my prime interest to go into game development. Unfortunately, it was way too complex for me to go by, so I shifted over to different engineering areas, that is around process improvements and things like that. So I've had the experience of working in different sectors of industries like public sector, private sector, startups, productized organizations, project-based organizations, services-based organizations. So when I came into PL, the management saw good potential in me, and here I am now working as a senior engagement manager, managing a couple of project managers and leading customer success. Thank you.
That's fascinating. Over your time at Pure Logics, you've seen multiple waves of technological change. What has been some of the most significant shifts you witnessed?
Yes, definitely. Since my experience with PureLogics, I've encountered magnitude of shifts in the technological advances. Earlier, it was around PHP frameworks, WordPress engagements, and things like that, Shopify implementations. But when the organization made a major switch towards Python, it was a huge switch, and it turned out in the benefit of us all. And we're still striving towards being an excellent performer on the Python development frameworks.
Perfect. And now we're in the middle of the perhaps the biggest shift yet, AI. From your vantage point, leading engineering teams, when did you realize this wasn't just hype?
Well, to summarize it, AI has been in practice since late 1900s, and to our experience in Pure Logics, in the past 1.5 year, I think the inclination moved drastically towards AI enablement, and it has been formidable and has not stopped since growing until then. And as far as the technological engagements are concerned, we have been heavily engaged in multiple domains of projects, including AI practices.
Perfect. That's a great segue into our main topic. Let's start with the fundamentals. So instead of diving directly into agentic AI, as is the topic of our podcast, let's gently move and guide the user through traditional AI to generative AI and then finally to agentic AI. So let's start with traditional AI. What would be the main difference, in your opinion, in AI and traditional programming?
Well, as far as AI enablement is concerned and traditional development is concerned, yes, there's a huge level of difference in involvement of programmers or the developers, you may say. Because when it comes to AI enabled development, we can understand that the empowerment or the enablement that is going to be coming our way is not local, it is going to be global. So, whatever frameworks, whatever recommendations the AI generate, it's not only that it resides only towards the knowledge base of the project itself, it resonates with the world standards. So automatically we can very positively vouch for AI enablement. That is a huge benefit for software development industry.
Absolutely. Let's dive into Gen AI a little bit. Let's zoom in on generative AI. We've all played with ChatGPT. I'm sure you have. I'm sure your kids are playing with it right now.
We're a huge
Um,
fan of it.
when you're running when you're running a software service company with enterprise clients, how are you thinking about Gen AI beyond the hype?
Well, to sum it up, yes, it is a benefit to all, despite their intellectual capacity. What whoever user, like you mentioned earlier, my kids, yes, they are a big fan of generative AI. They're on ChatGPT most of the time, doing their assignments, doing their essays and things like that, story writing and whatnot. So yes, the involvement or the evolution of generative AI has captured the mindset of a huge audience, be it technical or non-technical. So the generative AI in itself is exponentially growing in magnitude of frames in different life cycle sectors.
Absolutely. From code generation to documentation to ideation to architectural proposals, everything can be done through Gen AI. But all of those capabilities also introduce new challenges, hallucinations, inconsistencies, context limitations. How do you balance leveraging these capabilities while maintaining the quality standards?
Well, the main point of problem over here is that we need to understand how generative AI works. So yes, you are absolutely right that the generative AI constructs are somewhat advanced in a way that they enable the software development industry in code generation, creating documentation, reference material, test creations, or even architectural proposals. But the point is that how much of the reliance we can actually build on them. Yes, the good point is that yes, we should heavily rely on the AI generations because it comes with a factory enablement of world or global standards applications already implied. But on the hindsight is that we cannot only rely on generative AI outputs. We need to have somebody who oversees that what is being generated. Is there a requirement of refactoring at any certain point in time, or if there is an involvement where we need some improvements, where there are any code injections that are not in reference to whatever the business needs were. So we need to understand that how we are going to implement the generative AI solutions within all of these paradigms, that starting from the documentation, code generation, test, or whatnot.
Absolutely. That's a very mature approach. A pattern that I'm seeing with organizations is moving from Gen AI for everything to Gen AI for specific, well defined use cases. Moving towards client conversations this time. When companies come to PureLogics, when companies come to ask you for their businesses, are they asking for specific AI features or certain business outcomes driven by AI?
Well, to understand how AI got involved in the business sector, it is not so later than 2 or 3 years back, where the all of the customers came with the involvement like, okay, let's AI is in, it's the boom thing right now, so let's include AI in whatever they're doing, regardless of the understanding or the knowledge. Let's put AI in everything. So there was a huge learning curve that was required on the customers and as well that we as a solution provider were required to ensure that the customers know what AI actually is. So after a little bit of effort with all the customers, yes, they are now at a level that they feel more engaged. They are more aware of how AI actually works and what value can AI add into their businesses.
Absolutely. That's a very crucial distinction. Once a customer understands what the AI can do for it or do for them, the next evolution, Agentic AI, takes this even further. So let's talk about Agentic AI now. For our listeners, Agentic AI refers to AI systems that can autonomously achieve goals. The agency within AI makes them Agentic AI. They can plan, execute, observe results, and adapt accordingly. So it's not just generating text or code, they're taking action. Jahangir, how are you seeing this concept resonate with your engineering teams and clients?
Yes. Uh, as far as generative AI and agentic AI is concerned, there's a big gap. As far as generative AI is concerned, what we did was we supplied a query, general query, like let's create an essay around history of Pakistan or any other country, like or any technological growths within, say, space sciences, biomechanics, and anything like that. So what generative AI did was it correlates the whole information in reference to what the query was and what the knowledge base states. So what it did was generate responses that best matches to our query. Well, when moving towards agentic AI, let's assume for a moment that we have an agent, a facilitator that can actually help us the task completions. So the that is correct. And agentic AI is definitely the next stage in technological evolution. So what we need to do is the clients or we ourselves, we need to understand that where do we need to put a generative AI and where there is a need in the solution to implement agentic AI. As far as the agentic AI is concerned, it is simply as a facilitator that we can use in creating multiple technological solutions. Just as a small mimicry, a digital version of yourself that is going to facilitate you in decision making, taking suggestions, or any recommendations that are globally applied to help us make certain decisions towards any business solutions.
Absolutely. From the variety of experiences I've had working with Agentic AI, I see it as a tool or as a colleague to help you out in different situations where a human needs to be into the loop. What excites you about Agentic AI? And what concerns you about Agentic AI?
Very good question. Actually, yes, as far as there are excitements, there are some concerns as well. So let's jump down into the excitement because there are a lot. And just to name a few, there are a bundle of excitements. When it comes to code quality, we know that the agentic AI or the generative AI is going to propose recommendations that comply with the world's best practices, be it design patterns, be it coding practices, be it quality standards, anything you name, the agentic AI or generative AI is going to make sure that it is going to facilitate the best quality material that can help us achieve our business requirements. So applying an agent to it is the one that actually facilitates all these operations. So what are the other excitements that we can get prompt responses, suggestions, recommendations, standards, what we can actually apply to a solution. Similarly, when it comes to some critical business related applications, the compliance or the regulations, they are of pivotal importance. So agentic AI or generative AI can help us identify that what are the gaps in our current implementation, identify those, make corrective actions, and make sure that we comply to all of the factory standards or all of the required standards that are meant to be done before we actually hand over the solution to the customer. Not only that, we can include implementations like code reviews, code improvement, test case generations, or any other thing regarding these details when we are enabled with AI based development. However, however, there's some concerns as well because being human, we start relying on our comfort zones. So the AI in itself, when we start relying on agent, it comes at a compromise. It can come as a compromise. Like we do not do proofreading, we do not perform refactor, we fail to what we can say implement oversight wherever AI is generating a certain code or any implementation. We also need to ensure that an oversight is implemented perfectly and to its best sanity to make sure that the quality standards are met, the business processes are aligned. So we need to make sure that proofreading oversight is maintained. However, that is a hindsight that once we start relying, we step back and engage in our comfort zone in order to rely more on the AI and less on the human minds.
Absolutely. Those concerns are absolutely valid. The challenge with the Gentex systems, as you've talked about, is that they need oversight, they need constrainment, they need guardrails, verification steps, and human in the loop checkpoints. Those are very good practices. And I, how have you started to think about these architectural patterns in your project delivery system?
Thank you. And you, being the AI specialist as well, you can very well know that these particular implementation like guardrails, verifications, and human in the loop, all of these are very much important in order to make sure that whatever we do, whatever we deliver, is as per the factory standards. So, regardless of the fact that AI is generating certain things, we need to make sure there are certain checks and balances applied to counter check the output quality.
Absolutely. Now that we've discussed agentic AI, let's take it one step further. Let's talk about multi agent systems. Now, this is where things get really interesting. Instead of
Mhm.
one AI agent working alone, you have multiple specialized agents. Uh, and those are interfaced with front end code, back end code, APIs, other database optimization, and they work together like a team. This mirrors how you have already organized human engineering teams. What's your reaction to this concept?
Yes, that is a very valid concept. Even before AI, as a child, whenever we got into studies, we noticed and we read through in our literature books that computers are a mimicry of human self. So it's CPU, the heart, the processor, and things like that. They're all mimic of a human body. So automatically, agentic approach is reliant or is built around having how the humans work. So let's assume for a moment, like if you are going in any facility, you go to the go to the front desk, and whoever the receptionist is going to request you for what the complaint is, what the concern is, what the questions are, and first level detailing is going to be done at the front end desk. The that particular agent, let's in parallel map these out in the agentic AI approach as well. That particular agent is going to identify that what the root cause is, what the question is, what the concern is, and afterwards that particular agent is going to make a decision. The most important part, that the factor that separates generative AI from agentic AI is the ability to take actions, resonate with the detail, and then reason with it, and afterwards take action in reference to whatever suits best. So what that particular agent is going to do, it is going to route that particular customer to a specialist, a subject matter specialist, who is going to cater to the questions or the need. There's also a possibility that the person might go through a step one, step two, step three, step four, multiple specialists, one after the other, in order to reach the final stage. So, automatically, the agentic systems revolve around the same approach, that when we implement multiple agents with their specializations, the agent keep on routing the request from one agent to another depending on the specialization. So that's how they work.
I love the analogy that you used of a receptionist and it routing you to a specialist. Could you expand on that more? Because in multi agent systems, as you know, it's very important that we have clear rules, clear handovers, a clear delegation of tasks. Could you speak more to that analogy?
Yes, definitely. This is a trend change in technology, and those who do not pace up with the acceptance of overarching changes in the AI, they soon will go off the rails and will fall behind in the race. Yes, anybody who has the tendency to accept what AI is all about must plan accordingly in order to enable their themselves as well as their resources to make sure that they are apt with the advancements, or at least to the bare minimum requirements where they can actually keep on delivering solutions that are AI enabled. Because the most important part with AI is it gives you prompt responses. You give a query or a command or a request, it generates, it analyzes the request and generates a response right then and there, making sure, while keeping intact the factory standards, the global standards, or the information that is globally available throughout with the knowledge base that the question is particularly asking for. So agentic AI involves multiple agents taking decisions, and they are ready to perform actions. But what happens in when the conflict occurs? So in a normal team nature, there's a manager, there are team members, and there's a manager. So in the agentic AI, the most important role is of an orchestrator or the manager, who is actually going to make sure agents are reasoned with, they are, if they go into a conflict, like there's a possibility that multiple agents go into a conflict, that my solution, whatever I am providing, is the best one. The other agent says whatever I am supplying based on my references, the response provided is correct. So what happens then? We need a mediator who is actually going to orchestrate that or reason with, based on the facts, that what is important, how it is done, dealt with, and what is the best course of action that can be taken. So that is the role of orchestrator or an overseer. So agentic AI cannot go outside of the boundary of any team structure. Whatever happens in the human life cycle, that we have a manager, we have resources, so automatically in the agentic AI there is a very pivotal requirement of having an orchestrator that is going to make sure there is no conflicts occur.
Absolutely. Orchestration and mediation are critical parts of any multi agent system architecture. Now, looking ahead, I think this is very exciting that multi agent systems might enable entirely new service models, service offerings. Now, imagine offering clients a product or a team that can work 24/7 in a hybrid AI system where the AI handles routine tasks and anything that requires escalation to human systems, critical decision making, those involve human agents. uh, is this science fiction or is this a reality?
Currently it is science fiction, but soon to come a reality. So the concept of escalations, yes, the same thing is applied in agentic AI as well. Like we have level 1 support, level 2 support, level 3 support, and things like that. Same nature and same implementation tactics are also implemented when we are actually implementing multi agent approach. So enabling customer with a let's say in a normal frame, what will happen is that a customer comes in, he might ask a certain questions. So what we can do is, like in the previous environment, in conventional development techniques, we had FAQs, frequently asked questions. So considering if the customer is satisfied with the responses already jotted down in the FAQs, he goes home all satisfied. But what happens if the customer is not satisfied? The customer requests some human involvement or any other specialized person involvement that can actually resonate with whatever the question is, what the problem is, and then provide a response or the solution accordingly. So what happens is that when multiple agents are supplied, they treat the same level 1, level 2, level 3 approach in their implementation as well. What happens is that the FAQs was only one layer, and afterwards the customer was expected to get in touch with a human consultant or a facilitator. But with the benefits of agentic AI, we can make those level 1, 2, 3 over to the AI agents. They are specialized and they are equipped with the knowledge that the customer is actually going to ask. So, based on the orchestration, the agents keep on shuffling from the request from one agent to another. And the most important part, the context is never lost. If the command or the query is posted from one agent or it is transferred from one agent to another, so the whole context moves from one agent to another, so the history is never lost. So the new agent is definitely going to make sure that yes, I know everything, let me take things from here and now. Make sense?
Absolutely. That's a perfect example. Now let's get concrete. We've talked about the concepts. Can you share some examples of how PureLogics has implemented AI?
Of course, there are a bundle of projects that we have worked on that are AI enabled. Not only the projects that are AI enabled, our teams are also pacing very on a very fast pace to enable themselves, to app themselves with whatever the standards are of enabling themselves with AI generated code developments. As far as the projects are concerned, yes, we have done multiple projects around the frameworks, the legal frameworks, or any other frameworks where the PM agents are required. Like for example, considering legalities, we a customer say comes to a front end of the application, he posts a certain request that I need some detail regarding property transfers or anything like that. So instead of putting up a lawyer or a facilitator right then and there, the agent, the AI agent that is equipped with the knowledge of all of the legalities. The agent is going to identify that what the problem pertains to. It is towards properties. Okay, there's a specialist for property legal matters. The agent moves the or transfers the request from the front end to the property agent, and then it takes it from there on. So there can be so many advantages that we can use regarding the AI enablements. Not too recently, we worked on a project manager agent. So what it does was that it is a real-time connection. It's like having an associate PM right then in the meeting with you, facilitating your knowledge base of the project scope. Then and there, if the customer comes up with any scope change, the agent is going to identify, hold on, this is a scope change. We did not agree to that particular requirement in the original scope. So let's discuss it further. Maybe we can include it as a CR and things like that, or maybe we need to push it to the backlog so that we can entertain it to a later stage. Similarly, projects around that nature we have developed, and also we have developed chatbots that what we can say take in big or huge loads of documentations. Like it can be policy, it can be procedures, it can be any other literature material, like let's say libraries of any technical advancements. So the chatbot using LLMs is going to and read through the request, and it is going to respond accordingly that okay fine, this particular request refers to the book that is referenced from any author on that particular year, and from that author the reference guide states that okay fine, use this approach and you will get a successful result. So instead of going through all the books in detail, spending time, hours and hours of reading through material, making cross references and things like that, it enables you to right then and there ask question as a normal human in natural language and get immediate responses. So these are just a couple of projects that we have the areas that we worked on, but the project potential is huge.
Those are excellent examples. Very exciting to see where PureLogics takes it from here on out. What are key success metrics or success factors that you use in your projects? And what surprised you positively or negatively during your implementation?
Understood. Okay. Being through agentic AI, although it is making leaps and bounds of progress and enabling AI powered solutions in multiple sectors of industry, but the only problem here is that we need to limit how the agentic AI or the generative AI is implemented in a project. So let's consider an example. We need to we need to understand that what are the limitations of agentic AI, what are the limitations of generative AI. Because not too far in the past, just a couple of weeks back, I experienced a problem in a project where the AI agent was rephrasing certain set of requirements and then adding a few details that it took out from another meeting recording. When the merge was supposed to happen, what the agent did was it summarized, scoping out a lot of original details, and then creating a very minimalistic summary to carry forward. Unfortunately, that change was not accepted because of the fact that agent itself removed a lot of scope materials. So that particular limit is still there. Agentic AI is not mature in itself right now, but our exposure or our experience or our progress is equally, what we can say, in pace with the progress of agentic AI. As far as our organization is concerned, we are very much what we can say, very much involved.
Synchronized. Mhm.
Yes, synchronized towards AI enablement. And what we do is that we use different frameworks of structures of AI and models of AI in order to enable our projects as well as our teams to come to a concrete solution. But then again, human involvement is very much important. An overseer is required, an orchestrator is required, a team lead is required, a refactor specialist is required, because agentic AI at times, though it gives you a solution that is bug free right then and there, but then again we cannot rely on its output that it is going to make changes to an existing model. So the improvement will go hand in hand with the improvement of AI.
Absolutely. That's a very mature approach to project management and involving AI in your projects. So from a technical standpoint, what has been the biggest gap between what AI promises and what it delivers in production? Because in my experience, I see a lot of demos that look amazing but fall apart under real world conditions.
That is true. That is true. And most of the time it happens. The main reason is that AI, although works phenomenal on feature level generations, however, when we integrate or use AI on a project level detail, it fails to comply to the whole context of the delivery. Because, like I mentioned previously, the AI is not yet mature enough to handle large volumes of data input. So, because whenever we are requesting AI, it's not only the single liner statement that we submit to the AI, it is it what we can say, it takes in its involvement the whole background, the project scope, the existing feature, whatever the changes are required. So we need to make sure that these things are minimized to an extent that AI can fully understand. So we need to understand that how much reliance are we going to build on AI generated content. So AI generation, though in its current state, is a little bit questionable, but then again, it is very much what we can say solution friendly. It is prompt, and we can get solutions right then and there, and they're bug free. As far as limited or small level details development are concerned, we can make good use of it, but implementing it on an enterprise level, it's still a little bit of time where it can be matured enough to facilitate that large volume of data.
Perfectly summarized. Now, considering your vast experience in strategic leadership, managing product and service delivery systems, what advice would you give to other engineering leaders who are trying to upskill their organizations in agentic AI? What are the first steps they should take?
Understood. Okay, before jumping into investing loads of funds into acquiring best AI subscriptions or chat GPTs or any other thing, we need to know that what is the baseline requirement, and that is the resource enablement. Is our the resource capable of handling AI? Are they able to utilize it properly? Because it comes at a huge cost. So, whenever we are empowering our project development or software code with AI enablement, it comes at a cost. We give a prompt to AI, it generates certain codes and then reverts back. So, we need to enable our resources first to understand how AI works, how we can utilize AI in the best manner possible. Prompt engineering is a very important part where the person, the resource needs to know, needs to understand that what is the most optimal prompt that I can give to AI, and the AI is going to return me with the solution that is best fitting to my project need. So enablement comes first, and then we can definitely keep on investing on need basis, that how many subscriptions do we need, how we are actually going to invest, how many what we can say generative AI engineers do we need, how many agents we can implement, because everything comes at cost. It's not that we can overrule just by looking at AI is going to handle everything. It's not the case. We need human specialist, human in the loop. That is a very important thing. That is the same thing as an AI orchestrator. We need to have somebody who actually can oversee the details generated by AI and then make actions or suggestions in accordance to whatever the best befitting solution is.
Absolutely, I would second that opinion. This has been a fascinating conversation. Before we close, what's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from this discussion?
Perseverance, that's all I can say. Keep pushing yourself, enable yourself with the AI practices, and not too far in the future, you will be the one specialized in the AI implementations as well. So, AI is definitely going to be the future. It is the next level of evolution that is going to happen. We cannot just close our eyes and do not look at it. So, what we need to do is we need to enable ourselves with the overarching changes in the IT industry, in the AI industry.
Absolutely. Jahangir, thank you so much for joining us today. The conversation about the evolution from traditional coding to AI augmented and agent based development is one every engineering leader needs to be having.
Thank you so much for having me, and it was great discussion, and it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning into our podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe and share with your network. Until next time, keep building the future.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye bye.
Bye.